Okay, so just to start off, this car is completely filthy. This GLS450 only has 18,000 miles and it got this messy by some kids and the parents that own this car. But we're gonna get this thing deep clean by the end of this video. But first I wanna show you guys a little trick. I use this Maxi Link. This is from Auto. This is a OBD scanner that you can pick up on Amazon. I'll have it linked down below for you guys to check out. OBD scanners are super cheap. This is not sponsored. This is just a plug for a tool that anybody should own if they own a car, period, to be honest, because you can check your codes, you can see what's going on, so that way you're more informed of what's going on with your car. And this car in particular had a check engine light, all because the gas cap was loose and it wasn't going away. So the owner asked me to check it, make sure that was what it was, which is exactly what was going on. So I was able to clear that code and just do an extra favor and elevate a detail a little bit further. So I want you guys to also head over to Fox Clean after this video. Fox Clean is my own personal detailing brand. I sell detailing supplies over there and I have a bunch of new products coming out. So make sure you sign up for the mailing list on that site. But also, over the next week, I'm gonna be slipping in $20 bills into 5 orders randomly to give back to you guys and also just to say thank you for all of your support. So head on over there after this video to make sure you guys pick up your detailing products to help elevate your detailing game.
Alright, so the seat for this thing's a bit interesting. The rails are actually not mounted to things. They have brackets and then bolts that go through, so it'll be interesting to see how all this comes out. Never taken apart a Mercedes of this era, especially in the SUV form, so I'm learning as you guys are watching this how to take this thing apart. I've looked on YouTube and stuff like that, but it's not a whole lot of videos on it, but we'll figure this out.
Now when I pulled out these seats, I wasn't expecting to find a ton of dirt, but it accumulates over time. And honestly, I don't know what this little brush thing is. If you guys know, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, pulling out the seats is cumbersome and sometimes difficult at times, especially these seats in particular, just because of how the plastic is literally wrapped around the rails and you have to remove the rails, pick up the seat to pull the plastic off. But it's something I always like to do in my details because it does make a difference in getting the car clean. And honestly, anything between that center console and the seat gets lost. And this is one of those situations where I was able to clean it up for the owner and get all that trash and debris that would have otherwise not been able to get cleaned. Now just this black carpet on the back side of the seat, you wouldn't have expected to have this much loose fiber, but by using the pet detailing brush, it helps clean up any of the loose ends, any of the material that's in there that you otherwise wouldn't realize is there, and just getting it, making it look that much more brand new. Even on a car that doesn't have pet hair, I recommend you guys using them every once in a while because it does help with getting that loose fibers out and also making that carpet look like new again. The front seats were the only ones removed because these rear seats do fold up, back, whatever way the seats come up, so you can kind of get into all of the compartments and all of the areas underneath the seats without having to remove them. Otherwise, I would have removed them, but in this case, I was lucky. I didn't have to. I was still able to get to all those nooks and crannies with my vacuum cleaner and get this car completely cleaned. So while you watch this little clip of me vacuuming this passenger side area, this little black cover right here, this is actually covering the battery, and the battery is underneath the floorboard. You have to remove that cover, then you have to remove the intake and part of the carpet to actually get to the battery. So if you own a Mercedes of this era or a GLS, that's one thing to keep in mind, that replacing the battery is not an easy thing to do. You have to remove the seat to replace the battery, which yeah, that kind of stinks, to be honest. Every 3-4 years or whatever the battery life is in this particular car, that just seems like a heck of a job to do. So I wish you luck if you own this car, or if you own a car like this and you have to ever replace it. Now these floor mats weren't super dirty. There was a plastic liner on the rear second row bench, which was nice. It kept these rather clean. The fronts did not have WeatherTechs or rubber floor mats, so those ones were clean, but I was actually really happy with the lack of dirt in them and how much of the extractor actually had to do. These things came out really nice, and I definitely like the new carpet lines that I'm trying. You'll see later on here after I extract them. I kind of did a zigzag pattern, which actually looked really nice in the aftershots, which you guys will see later. And for those of you that saw the last video, I am still working on getting that Mighty. I have it getting some parts replaced because the vacuum pump was kind of failing on that one in particular. But I am going to be upgrading from my Sandia to a Mighty, which if you know the difference, the Sandia is not heated in my particular unit and it doesn't have the suction power of a Mighty, which Mighty is like the Ferrari of extractors, if you will. It's just a nicer unit. It's stronger. It heats up the water much more higher than a smaller unit would. And it does a much better job. So I am excited to be upgrading to a Mighty here soon. Now for these leather seats, I taped off the center to show you guys how dirty these seats were, and I do love white leather seats or a cream color because they just look nicer in a car and look classier and more rich, but they do get dirtier faster. And for this owner in particular, I think having a white interior, it might not be the best thing if you have kids. A darker color or like a black leather is much nicer in terms of keeping it clean. But here showing you the tape line, once I removed it, you can see how dirty it was compared to the clean side. Now, one thing, if you are conditioning your leather seats, this leather cleaner in particular is one that I'm going to be carrying on Fox Clean here soon, but it works really well with drying to a matte, clean finish. But one thing I do recommend is taking your microfiber towel after you apply your leather conditioner and just wiping down the seats after you let it flash over and kind of dry and soak in. It does help with removing any of that little bit of greasy residue that might be on there that isn't absorbed, and just not having it on the surface that the owner then will get on their clothes, or that just doesn't get absorbed, period. Now for the interior panels, I'm using an interior detailing spray. This isn't an all-purpose cleaner, which is a lot stronger even if you dilute it. This is more of like a top coat that you would put on top of the interior, but also does mild cleaning. And since the interior panels weren't super dirty, didn't have a lot of caked on, grime and residue and food and whatever else, this worked really well with just cleaning the surface, but also protecting it from UV rays and giving it that nice, flat shine. I know flat shine doesn't really work together, but you kind of see what I mean here after I get this completely detailed, what it looks like and how it renews it and makes it look like it's a new car. Now in the links below, I have all my Amazon links to all the products I don't carry on Fox Clean, but this is a reach tool from Invisible Glass. There's several different ones on there, but the one I carry, I really like. It helps getting into all those nooks and crannies, into the front part of your glass. Plus, it just makes it easier to detail your windows and keep those windows clean. So definitely check those out in the links in the description box below to pick one up. It's one of those cheaper tools that I recommend anybody owns, especially if you clean your own windows. It does a really good job, and I definitely recommend it. One of my favorite things about this car in particular is how light the interior is. The roof liner is white as well. It just feels like such an airy cabin. It kind of reminds me of like Teslas, for instance. They have that white interior and it's just such a nice space to be in that even if it's dark outside, it feels bright and just welcoming. I know that seems weird, but this car really kind of exuberates that kind of, feeling, if you will. The exterior is going to be done. I'm going to be doing a polishing and ceramic coating on the exterior of this car, but that video will be out on Thursday for you guys, so make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already and have those notifications turned on so you don't miss out on that. And also make sure, like I said, head on over to Fox Clean, pick up your detailing brushes, sign up for that newsletter, get your pet detailing brushes, and I'm going to be slipping in those $5 $20 bills into random packages this week for you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.